Have you ever felt your day start on autopilot? Wake up, check your phone, run to your appointments, and before you realize, the morning went without purpose or direction. This cycle may seem inevitable, but the great Stoic philosophers have taught us that every new day is an opportunity to shape our mind, strengthen our character, and find balance. The way we started the morning defines the tone for everything that comes next. If we begin with clarity, intention, and discipline, we can face challenges with serenity, act with integrity, and seek wisdom in each experience. Stoicism, far from being just an ancient philosophy, is a practical guide to live with purpose and resilience, and its lessons can transform not only your routine but your whole life. In this guide, you will learn 10 Stoic meditations that will help you start your days with more awareness, self-control, and gratitude. They are simple but powerful practices that will lead you to cultivate essential virtues, act with courage, and find joy on the journey. After all, the real change does not happen at grand times, but in small daily choices. So, how about turning your mornings and breaking a fuller and significant life? Mornings are like a blank screen. The way you fill the first minutes can set your entire journey. If you already start in chaos, running after the clock, you will hardly find balance throughout the day. Therefore, when awakening, before plunging into mobile notifications or commitments, take a break. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is the intention for today? This simple act of reflection brings clarity and direction, allowing you to choose your actions with conscience. Stoicism teaches us that the mind needs to be trained to resist distractions and maintain focus on what really matters. Just as a warrior sharpens his sword before battle, sharpening his mind in the morning is an exercise in discipline and self-control. Try starting the day with a few minutes of silence or reflective writing. Write down your priorities, reinforce your values, and visualize how you want to act in the face of the challenges that arise. Small practices like this strengthen your resilience and prevent you from being dragged by unforeseen events. Another powerful strategy is to eliminate noise early. Avoid consuming negative information or starting the day reacting to external problems. Stoics believed in the importance of taking care of their own mental state before facing the world. How about, instead of opening social networks as soon as you wake up, read an inspiring section from Seneca, Marco Aurelio, or Epictetus. These ancient words carry timeless wisdom and can serve as a reminder to live with purpose and balance. In addition, your body and mind are interconnected as you feel physically affects your emotional state. So move early. An outdoor walk, some stretches or light exercises can bring more energy and mental clarity. Marco Aurelio wrote about the importance of facing morning laziness with determination. Raising the bed with purpose is a sign of discipline and self-control. If the Roman emperors found time for it, why not you? By cultivating this morning ritual of clarity and purpose, you not only improve your productivity, but also your serenity. What seemed just one detail, the way you start the day, becomes a pillar to live with more authenticity and wisdom. After all, each morning is a new chance to start over. Every day we are bombarded by obligations, distractions, and external demands. If we are not clear about what really matters, we end up losing ourselves in the whirlwind of meaningless tasks. Stoics believe that life must be guided by purpose, not by chance. So when you wake up, ask yourself, what is essential to me today? This simple reflection brings direction and prevents your energy from being wasted with what does not add value. Marco Aurelio used to write about the importance of constantly remembering his purpose. For him, life was an opportunity to practice virtues and act wisely. A practical way to apply this idea is to define a mantra of the day. Something like, today, I choose to act with patience, or I will face challenges with courage. By repeating this intention throughout the day, you reinforce your discipline and keep focus on what really makes sense. Another powerful exercise is to write. Early in the morning, it's 3 essential priorities. We are not just talking about tasks, but the principles you want to cultivate. It can be something like, I want to be more grateful. I will hear the people around me more attention, or today, I won't get carried away by anger. In defining these intentions, your mind aligns with your values, strengthening your self-control and resilience. Stoicism also teaches us that not everything is under our control, but our choices and reactions, yes. Therefore, when meditating on your purpose, reflect, what can I do today, regardless of external circumstances. Thus, you break free from anxiety for the future and learn to act in the present with conscience and balance. After all, a day lived with intention is a step more towards wisdom and self-knowledge. By making this meditation a daily habit, you will realize that your actions become more consistent with their essence. Your life is no longer just a sequence of random events and becomes a journey guided by authenticity and purpose. In the end, as Epictetus said, no matter what happens around us, but how we chose to answer it. Living with integrity means aligning your actions with your values, regardless of circumstances. Stoics believe that the true virtue does not depend on the eyes of others, but the personal commitment to what is right. If you need external validation to act correctly, your integrity is fragile. Instead, ask yourself, if no one was watching, I would still do what is right. The answer reveals how faithful you are to your principles. Epictetus said that a person's character is measured by what he does when no one is looking. In everyday life, this means fulfilling promises, keeping the word, and acting justice even when there are advantages to doing the opposite. Imagine a professional who lies at work to benefit in the short term. It may even earn something momentarily, but loses credibility in the long run. Confidence is one of the most valuable goods that someone can build, and it is born of the coherence between discourse and action. One way to practice integrity is to establish non-negotiable principles. List 3 values that guide your life, such as honesty, respect, and discipline. Then reflect, do my daily actions reflect these values? If the answer is no, it is time to adjust your conduct. Small gestures, such as admitting errors, avoiding gossip, and treating everyone with justice, strengthen their character. When integrity becomes a habit, their choices become more conscious and aligned with what really matters. In Stoicism, integrity is also linked to the acceptance of responsibility. Blaming fate or third parties for our failures is a sign of weakness. Instead, the Stoics teach us to assume our actions with courage. Wrong, correct. If promised, fulfill. It is believed in something, defend, even if it is unpopular. Marco Aurelio ruled with this philosophy, always remembering that true power comes from character, not position. When your actions reflect your values, your life becomes lighter. You don't have to remember lies, nor justify dubious behaviors. Integrity brings peace of mind. For those who act with virtue do not fear judgments. In the end, living with authenticity is not just a philosophical choice, it is the key to building solid relationships, self-respect, and a meaning of meaning. Fear is part of life, but what really matters is how we react to it. Stoics did not see courage as a trait reserved for warriors or great leaders, but as an essential virtue for anyone. Having courage does not mean not to be afraid, but to choose to act even in the face of uncertainty. After all, waiting until you feel completely ready for something can mean waiting forever. Seneca said that the biggest obstacle to happiness is the fear of suffering. How many opportunities have you lost for fear of failure, rejection, or judgment? The problem is that by avoiding challenges, you also avoid growth. The only way to strengthen courage is to exercise it daily. It can be simple, such as starting a difficult conversation, taking a new challenge, or even admitting a mistake. Small acts of courage build a strong mindset. A powerful Stoic practice to face fear is negative visualization. Marco Aurelio recommended to imagine the worst possible scenario and realize that even if it happened, you could still deal with it. Ask yourself, what can really go wrong? And if that happens, I can overcome? By facing your fears rationally, you realize that many of them are exaggerated by your mind. This reduces anxiety and increases confidence to act. Courage is also linked to authenticity. We are often afraid of being ourselves for fear of the opinion of others. But the truth is that people respect those who remain firm in their values. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what we control and ignore what is out of our reach, and the approval of others is beyond our control. So why let it stop you from following your way? Cultivating courage does not mean being reckless, but to live according to its principles without letting fear paralysis. What can you do today that requires a little more boldness? Remember, discomfort is temporary, but regret not to try can last a lifetime. Courage is a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Stoics believed that knowing themselves was the first step in living a full and balanced life. After all, how to make good decisions without understanding your own desires, fears, and limitations? Self-knowledge is not a luxury, but a need for those who want to act wisely. Marco Aurelio, in his meditations, often reflected on his own thoughts and behaviors, always seeking to improve. Have you taken time to observe your own mind? A powerful Stoic practice is to write about your emotions and decisions at the end of the day. Keeping a diary helps identify behavioral patterns, understand emotional triggers, and avoid repeating the same mistakes. It doesn't have to be something complex. Some lines about what worked, what can improve, and what the challenges of the day have already made a difference. Epictetus taught that the key to personal growth is to analyze our actions honestly. Self-knowledge also requires courage to face uncomfortable truths. We often prefer to distract ourselves to face our weaknesses, but ignoring a problem doesn't make it disappear. A useful exercise is to ask yourself, what habits or thoughts are preventing me from growing up? Stoicism teaches that recognizing weakness is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength, for only then can we work to change it. Another valuable tool is the observation of the reactions themselves. How do you deal with criticism? How do you react to failure? Stoic learns to look at these situations without drama, only with the intention of understanding and evolving. When you know yourself, it avoids being hostage to emotions and acts more right. This brings more balance and serenity to life as you become less vulnerable to external circumstances. The great truth is that no one can live for you. Only you can understand your real desires, values, and purpose. The more you know yourself, the more authentic and free it becomes. Best of all, self-knowledge is an endless journey. There is always something new to learn about yourself. So, how about starting today? We often fall into the trap of postponing happiness. You'll be happy when I get that job, when to buy that house, when to find the right person. But the Stoics teach us that true joy is not in something external, but in the way we choose to see life. If you cannot find contentment in the present, you will hardly find it in the future. After all, as Marco Aurelio said, all we really have is now. Seneca warns us about the danger of living only for tomorrow without realizing that life is happening today. Instead of seeking happiness in great achievements, try finding it in the little things: a hot coffee in the morning, a good conversation, an interesting book. These simple moments are daily treasures that often go unnoticed. Gratitude is a powerful shortcut to joy. How about starting the day by listing 3 things you feel grateful? Another common mistake is to believe that joy depends on the circumstances. Stoicism teaches that, even in the face of difficulties, we can cultivate an inner state of serenity and contentment. This does not mean ignoring problems, but learning to face them without losing lightness. As Epictetus said, we cannot control events, but we can control as we react to them. And believe me, it makes all the difference. The key to finding joy on the journey is in the presence. Many times we are physically in one place, but our mind is in another, concerned about the future or attached to the past. Practice being 100% present in what you are doing, whether working, eating, or talking to someone. This full attention transforms even the simplest tasks into richer and significant experiences. After all, what is the sense of achieving great goals if you can't enjoy the way? Life is not a final destination, but a continuous process. If you learn to find joy on the journey, you will never need to postpone your happiness. As Marco Aurelio wrote, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So how about starting now? Intuition is often underestimated, but Stoic people saw in it a valuable instrument for making wise decisions. Unlike irrational impulse, true intuition is born of experience, observation, and self-knowledge. Marco Aurelio teaches us that we should hear our reason, but also pay attention to what our deepest mind tells us. How many times have you felt that something was not right, but ignored that feeling just to realize after it was right all the time? Epictetus believed that we should trust what we have learned throughout life. Intuition is nothing more than our unconscious processing information quickly, based on everything we have ever seen, live, and feel. When we face a difficult choice, our brain already has clues about which way to go, just need to learn to hear it. A good Stoic exercise is silent reflection. Before you decide something important, ask yourself, if I were to advise a friend in this situation, what would I say? However, trusting intuition does not mean acting impulsively. Stoics valued reason and prudence. So, before following your instinct, take a break and analyze, does this feeling come from a place of wisdom or fear and anxiety? True intuition is quiet and safe, while the impulse is usually closed and nervous. If you feel you need to decide something immediately, you may be better to wait a while. Practicing full attention also helps to strengthen intuition. We are often so distracted with external stimuli that we cannot perceive the internal signs. Try to devote a few minutes of the day to silence, either through meditation, reflective writing, or just watching your own thoughts. Over time, you will begin to notice patterns and answers that have always been there, but that went unnoticed in the middle of the mental noise. Intuition is like a muscle. The more you trust her and use it with conscience, the stronger and needs it becomes. The secret is in the balance between reason and feeling. When both work together, their decisions become more authentic, aligned with who you really are. And in the end, as Marco Aurelio said, no one can decide better about his life than yourself. We live in a world that values constant connection, where silence and solitude are often seen as solitude. But Stoic people knew that being with oneself is essential to mental clarity and self-knowledge. Marco Aurelio wrote that even in the midst of chaos, we must find a retreat within ourselves. After all, how can we understand our emotions and thoughts if we never take time to listen to them? Solitude does not mean isolation, but a space for internal reconnection. In ancient times, philosophers retired to reflect, far from the distractions of the world. Today we can do the same in simple ways: a walk alone, a few minutes of meditation, or even turn off mobile notifications and just breathe. When we give way to silence, the mind calms down and we can see our questions more clearly and wisdom. One of the greatest benefits of solitude is the freedom to think without interference. We are surrounded by external opinions, whether on social networks, media, or daily conversations. But does all this really reflect what we want and believe? Stoicism teaches us that we must seek our own answers. By passing time alone, you learn to differentiate your true desires from those who have been imposed by others. Enjoying solitude also strengthens your emotional resilience. Many people avoid being alone because they feel discomfort with their own thoughts. But running away from it only prolongs insecurity. By facing your mind with courage, you develop a healthier relationship with yourself. Epictetus said that true freedom comes from within, and nothing is more liberating than feeling good in the company itself. Therefore, reserve moments of the day to be alone, without distractions. It may be at dawn, before bed, or at any time you feel needed. In silence, you will find answers that the noise of the world hides. And when learning to appreciate your own company, you will realize that you are never really alone, because within you there is everything you need to live with balance and authenticity. Emotions are a natural part of human experience, but leaving them in control can lead us to hasty decisions. Stoics believe that reason should be our compass, even guiding us at the emotional storms. Marco Aurelio wrote, "If you are disturbed by something external, the pain does not come from the thing itself, but from your assessment of it, and you have the power to change it." In other words, it is not the events that affect us, but the way we interpret them. When something irritates you or saddens, before reacting impulsively, stop and question, does this situation really deserve this intensity of response? Many times, we realize that we are exaggerating. Stoics practiced the cognitive distance. That is, they watched their emotions as if they were spectators, without being carried away by them. This does not mean ignoring feelings, but to analyze them calmly, seeking to act with discernment. A simple exercise is to apply the method of the 3 Epictetus questions. 1. Is this under my control? 2. What is the best rational way to answer? 3. How can my reaction reflect my values? This kind of reflection helps maintain self-control and not hostage to their own emotions. After all, how can we make good decisions if we are dominated by anger, fear, or anxiety? Another valuable Stoic tool is anticipation. If you know something can frustrate you, such as traffic, delays, or criticism, already prepared yourself mentally. Imagine these situations occurring and visualize your best possible answer. Thus, when the moment comes, your mind will not react with impulsiveness but serenity. Training this approach strengthens emotional resilience and avoids regrets of attitudes taken in the heat of the moment. Reason is one of our greatest allies in the search for balance. Mastering emotions does not mean repressing them, but to understand and use them in favor of our growth. By making reflection a habit, you develop the ability to respond to life with intelligence and wisdom. And in the end, as Stoic people taught, peace of mind does not come from the absence of challenges, but the way we choose to face them. Stoics did not only believe in personal development, but also on the impact we can have on the world around us. For them, living well did not just mean seeking their own wisdom, but also sharing this light with others. Marco Aurelio wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee either." That is, individual well-being is linked to collective well-being. How can you make people's lives around you a little better today? Small gestures have immense power. A sincere compliment, an act of patience in traffic, or even a smile can turn someone's day. We do not need to make great deeds to positively impact the world. Seneca said that kindness is one of the noblest virtues because it not only improves those who practice it, but also inspires who receives it. Imagine how many people could be positively influenced by their daily actions. Another essential point is to practice empathy, even when it doesn't look easy. Everyone is dealing with internal battles we can't see. When someone acts rudely, instead of reacting angrily, try to think, this person may be going through something difficult. This does not mean accepting injustices, but to choose to respond with balance. Stoic seeks to understand others before judging, because he knows that inner peace is worth more than overcoming a discussion. Kindness also strengthens our own virtues. When we help someone without expecting anything in return, we cultivate gratitude and detachment. True altruism does not seek recognition, but the simple pleasure of doing good. Epictetus taught that by improving the world around us, we also become better people. Each act of generosity is a reflection of the character we are building. Finally, being a source of light does not mean being perfect or ignoring your own challenges, but choosing to spread more understanding, patience, and positivity. In a world where many live in haste and selfishness, being someone who radiates serenity and generosity is a true differential. And the beauty of that, the more light you share, the more your own way illuminates. Each new day is an opportunity to strengthen the mind, align actions with their values, and live with more awareness. Stoicism teaches us that small daily practices can generate major transformations. By starting your mornings with clarity, purpose, and serenity, you not only improve your routine, but build a more balanced and significant life. After all, how you start the day directly influences how you face the challenges that will emerge. Now that you know these 10 Stoic meditations, the question that remains is, how can you apply them in your life? What a simple habit can you implement tomorrow to cultivate more resilience and wisdom? Remember that it is not necessary to change everything at once. Consistent small changes bring the greatest results. The important thing is to take the first step. What if every morning is viewed as a new training for mind and spirit? Imagine how you will feel at the end of a month by practicing gratitude, courage, self-knowledge, and self-control. Over time, these principles are no longer just ideas and become part of who you are. Stoicism is not just an old philosophy, it is a practical guide to live with more authenticity and balance. So which of these meditations resonated with you? Which one will be your first practice tomorrow? Leave your comment and share your experience. And to continue your personal growth journey, subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. Together, we can make each day more significant.